He's still moving down there, but it looks like he locked up the left front tire, so we need to go make sure he's able to make his way back. Runs at 7.9 mile an hour. All right, so both Aaron Robbins and Buster Klein red flag, so they'll have attempt. So pit crews let Buster Klein and Aaron Robbins know that the that qualifying pass is not going to move over into class. They'll need to make another. All right, Buster Klein locked up the left front tire at the finish line and unfortunately blew the left front tire, so I think he'll probably be done tonight. But Aaron Robbins, make sure you make another qualifying pass. It did red flag you, Aaron Robbins. So the next pairing up in the tower lane out. That's normally Randy Klingesmith is driving. So Adam Klingesmith in the tower lane. In the pit lane out of Milan, Missouri is Alex May in the Fox Body Mustang. So Alex May in the 91 Mustang in the pit lane. Adam Klingesmith in the Malibu wagon in the tower lane. Klingesmith's going to run a 798 with a 9 at 86.4 mile an hour. Alex May had trouble. We may make sure he's on his way back. He got about 150 feet, just shut off. So unfortunately, flag, so we're still going to need to keep qualifying for a while. In the tower lane out of Ridgeway or Mount Moriah, Missouri is in the Night Prowler Camaro of Trent. Double D Disaster Relief sponsored. In the tower pit lane out of Canesville, Missouri is the Problem Child Firebird of Levi Willis. All right, Trent Hamilton's going to run a 680 with a 3 at 100.1 mile an hour. Levi, the next pairing up in the tower lane out of Osceola, Iowa in the second gen Camaro of Ryder Collins. In the tower lane is the last card of Mitch Bond. Mitch Bond out of Shippensburg, Iowa. So the tower lane out of Shippensburg, Iowa, the pit lane out of Osceola, Iowa. The dart's got a Gen 4 Hemi. The second gen Camaro. All right, Ryder Collins is going to run a 720 with a 5 at 93.9. One with a 9 at 81.4 mile an hour. Next pairing up in the tower lane out of Osceola, Iowa in the bullet nose of Matt Johnson. Matt Johnson's a turbo LS job, buddy. Matt Johnson out of Bethany, Missouri. Lucas Denny out of Osceola, Iowa. Matt Johnson with a 563 with a 0 at 132.7 mile an hour. Lucas Denny runs a 670 with an 8 at 103.2 mile an hour. Your next qualifying pairing in the tower lane out of Kirksville, Missouri is the third gen Camaro of Clifford Hollenbeck. In the pit lane out of Excelsior, Missouri in the Turbo LSS 10 of Jonathan Klein. So Excelsior Springs in the pit lane, Kirksville in the tower lane. Run a 679 with an 8 at 100.6 mile an hour. Klein runs a 696 with a 6 at 91.0 mile an hour. Jonathan Klein had to lift there, which is okay, but he'll have to make another qualifying attempt. So Jonathan Klein will have to make another qualifying attempt. All right, so the next pairing out of Breckenridge, Colorado. You heard this correct. The Mopar in the tower lane is out of Colorado. It's a 70 Plymouth Duster. Mike Taylor from Breckenridge, Colorado. He's friends with Mitch Bond. In the pit lane out of Osceola, Iowa in the black Monte Carlo, Courtney Denny. I assume the Duster has a 383 cubic inch engine. Nope, it says 438, but he liked 83. That's why his car number is that. So Mike Taylor out of Colorado coming to check out Thunder Valley. All right, Mike Taylor's going to run a 694 with a 2 at 100.6 mile an hour. Cuts a 469 light qualifying. That'll help him out the rest of the day. So Mike Taylor 694 with a 2. Courtney, I'm not 100%. Oh, it's not Courtney. It's Brent Stevenson. My bad. Brent Stevenson. Oh, no. He gave the I'm broke sign. Boy, the Osceola gang is having a rough day. I think that's at least the third one of them I know says I'm broken going on the trailer. And that Monte Carlo looked tough early. And that was Brent Stevenson out of Holt, Missouri, part of the Osceola gang. Unfortunately, he's backing up saying, I'm broke. So the next qualifying pair in the tower lane out of Kanesville, Missouri in the 71 Challenger of Shane Vaughn. In the pit lane out of Blythedale, Missouri, in the square body S10 is Roland Gilpatrick. This year, he raced almost every event last year. Mechanical changes over the winter that kept him from being here the last couple of races. But he's here and ready to roll now. He's got Shane Vaughn in qualifying here. Vaughn out of Canesville in the Tower lane. Gilpatrick out of Blythedale in the pit lane. Shane Vaughn going to run a 7:18 with a 1 at 97.3 mile an hour. Cuts a red light, but it gives him an ET. Roland Gilpatrick runs a 6:95 with a 5 at 97.3 mile an hour. The next pairing in the Tower lane out of Bethany, Missouri, and the Shag Nasty Nova is Spencer Fitzgerald. That's right, I gave it a new name, Nick. It's the Shag Nasty Nova. In the pit lane out of Osceola and the square body S10 of Trent Denny. Denny out of Osceola in the pit lane. Fitzgerald out of Bethany in the Tower lane. Trent Denny's going to run a 6:19 with a 1 at 113.5 mile an hour. Fitzgerald runs a 7:56 with a 9 at 93.5 mile an hour. Got a little bit of haze from the evacuator tube, but he's going to be all right. You can tell by the minute he lets off, it quits smoking. Lane out of Cummings, Iowa, in the third gen Firebird of Joe Wood. So Wood out of Cumming, Iowa in the pit lane. Powers out of Allen, Iowa in the Tower lane. Joe Wood's going to run a 6:67 with a 7 at 100.9 mile an hour. Powers runs a 6:97 with a 1 at 105.9 mile an hour. Scott Powers will have to make another pass. Scott Powers got a red flag there. It looked like it come out of the gate a little tough. So he'll have to make another qualifying attempt. So the next pairing in the Tower lane out of Smithfield, Missouri is Brian Schroeder in the Warhorse Mustang. In the pit lane out of Bethany, Missouri, in the turbocharged Mustang of Jarrett DePriest. All right, Brian Schroeder's going to run an 8:08 with a 9 at 87.1 mile an hour. DePriest has trouble with traction, so Jared DePriest will have to make another qualifying attempt. Looks like DePriest may have put something down as why he had traction issues, so we're going to do a real quick cleanup in the tower in the pit lane. It almost looks like he left his air conditioner on. Yeah, the air conditioner in Dupree's Mustang dripped water under his tire. Take that note, race fans. If you're going to race, make sure and shut your AC off while you're racing so it doesn't drip water out of the condenser under your right rear tire. So the next qualifying pair in the pit lane out of Sharpsburg, Iowa is improve his qualifying time. In the tower lane out of Novinger and Camaro of Chris Majors. In the big block nitrous Camaro in the tower lane out of Novinger, Missouri. Mitch Bond in the 72 Chris Majors doing a little wiggle at the other end, but runs a 5:32 to the 9 at 142.3 mile an hour. Mitch Bond runs an 8:15 with a 3 at 81.7 mile an hour. So Majors moving on in the heat, greasy track. We'll see what he does later as the track cools off. All right, the next qualifying pair in the tower lane out of Trent, Missouri. In the tower lane out of Trent, Missouri in the 62 Plymouth Valiant Turbo LS job of Fast Freddie Imgard. In the pit lane out of Atchison, Kansas, and the small block Chevy motivated Vega wagon of Jeff Boldridge. So Marvin the Martian in the pit lane and Fast Freddie in the tower lane. Freddie Imgarden going to run a 5:71 with a 2 at 115.1 mile an hour. Jeff Boldridge runs a 6:37 with a 1 at 105.5 mile an hour. All right, the next pairing in the tower lane out of Osceola, Iowa is Brent last race born new pistons and motor. They have got her back together and back here today. Brent Stevenson going to run a 6:85 with a 9 at 104 an hour. Brent Stanford. So Rick Dunmeyer runs a 7:71 with a 7 at 90.3 mile an hour. All right, so now our qualifying pairing in the pit lane is Courtney Denny. So Courtney Denny out of Osceola, Iowa in the black Monte Carlo. And in the tower lane out of Peculiar, Missouri is Dakota Parrish in the Fox Body Mustang. Courtney Denny is going to run a 6:47 with a 106.2 mile an hour. Dakota Parrish is going to run an 8:42 with a 2 at 80.3 mile an hour. So in the tower lane in the dragster is Jacob Prince out of Chillicothe, Missouri. This car is, oh, that's the Ranger. I'm sorry, the Ranger in the far lane. Small block Chevy Ranger, Jacob Prince out of Chillicothe, Missouri. The big block Chevy dragster is out of Indianola, Iowa. That dragster is sale turnkey. So if you're looking for a big block Chevy dragster race ready, go talk to Mike and Cody Rowe out of Indianola, Iowa. They're here to race tonight, though. Big block Chevy dragster in the tower lane. All right, Mike Rowe's going to run a 5:60 with a 2 at 123.3 mile an hour. Jacob Prince runs a 7:67 with a 1 at 93.0 mile an hour. So Brent